down the hammer and pick up the pencil. You're about to listen to the Savvy Radio Show. Learn from real-life real estate investors, experience revealed with the Savvy Landlord as your host.
Savvy investors out there, welcome to the Savvy Radio Show. My name is Steven Van Kallenberg, and I'm the Savvy Landlord. And today we're going to be talking about buying in the war zone, also known as AKA the hood of good. Should you buy in the hood? It's crazy that I get that question all the time because it's super attractive to find a rent house for $15,000, $25,000 and you're renting it out. And so this episode is for you to increase your capacity. What I'm trying to say is I'm going to lay out everything. I'm not going to answer the question for you. I'll get a text message from someone. Hey man, I'm trying to buy this house on this street and I know exactly the house. I know what it is. I know what it costs and I know what the return is, but you have to make the final decision. Okay. What I'm doing may not necessarily be good for what you're doing, but I'm going to just lay it out right now so you can understand about buying in low income. The hood of good, the war zone, carry a bulletproof vest. No, but I do carry a taser. That should be the tip for the day. Go on Amazon, buy a flashlight with a taser, $25. Keep it in your truck. And it's not because you're in the war zone. The point is there's pit bulls in the war zone. Okay, there's dogs without leashes in the war zone. And many times I've had a dog roll up on me and went, and the dog disappeared. It's the greatest thing. Now, don't buy a taser and mess around with the neighborhood dog, okay? But you should, if you're going to buy houses in the war zone, in the hood, you should have a taser, all right? That should be, you shut this off right now. Even if you're not buying them in the hood, I think you should carry a taser on you at all times, and especially if you're a female. And I know there's some females out there that are like Bruce Lee that can knock it out, but still, don't leave it to any chances. All right. So rough areas, high crime. Here's the thing. It depends on the condition of the property. And that's kind of one of my first is, now as I'm getting more mature and as an investor and I'm really looking at deals. Before I would just buy any house I could buy and I'd buy as many as I could buy with as much money as I could raise to go buy a house. But now as I'm looking and redoing my portfolio and I'm like, man, why did I buy that house? I thought it was a smoking deal and, it was a foreclosure and the bank was awkward. Here's a deal right here. $25,000, 3-bedroom, 1 bath. I'm thinking this is a smoking deal. No money down. The bank was like, boom, 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 boom. You can have it. And I was like, what's wrong? Is this how all banks are, foreclosures? So I buy this property for $25,000, no money down. It's in the hood. And I'm putting some paint in it and getting it done, getting it rent ready, get a tenant in there. 9 months later, I'm evicting the tenant. Wow. She trashes it, $1,500. Put another tenant in there. Wow. Less than a year, 11 months. Boom. 3 tenants, less than 2 years of ownership. Have I made any money? Now that's kind of a drab story. It's not sexy. It's not on every house. But you need to factor in intensified management. Now, if you're managing these properties yourself, it takes a special person. I'm not saying I'm better than anybody else, but you're going to have thick skin. I've had people say, my daughter has cancer, I'm dying, and I can't pay the rent, or I have no place to go, I got 3 kids, and, you're a terrible landlord if you're going to kick me out. But, they're sitting there playing video games, and they got cable and satellite dishes and they got a brand new car with a new tag on the outside. I don't know how they got that car. I don't know if it's their man, but they don't pay their rent. And again, this is just, I'm not saying this about everybody. These are the things that you need to be aware of, a parent too. Okay. So most people that are successful in doing this, they manage their own properties on their own, and their key concept is volume. Okay. And so you have a lot of properties and you might be making a lot of money, but you also have a lot of failure rate, meaning a lot of turnover, a lot of repair. So, and you get a lot of harassing with tenants and you get intimidated by tenants. So if you're weak or soft, be weary of this. Now, if you have a property management company, okay, they may be charging you extra for repairs that you may not be aware of. For example, like I saw an invoice from a landlord that got a door installed for $350. Well, wow, that is extremely high. And they didn't even paint the trim. What? Did they even put the trim back on? So, you might get a door kicked in. And in my world, that should be around $150 repair, maybe $200. I don't know. Depends on the condition. So if you're getting a door kicked in and you're paying $350, that was 3 months or a month of pure profit. Okay. So let's go. You got to find out the real ROI. The returns are huge if you do them right, but it's also lured in by cost effective. Okay. I mean, not cost effective. Is it cost effective? The cost is attractive. I bought an $11,000 property in the hood thinking I'm getting a deal. But after I put $20-something thousand rehab in it and the house is only worth $25 and I got almost $40 in it. So I wasn't paying attention. I was just so excited that I got a deal for $11,000. Make sure you factor in repairs, do higher vacancy rates. Okay. So I would run my numbers on 10 months. Some guys run them on 11 months. Some run them on a percentage. Just do that. Now, some landlords out there are like, oh, Section 8. Now, listen, Section 8 is another episode. But Section 8 years ago, man, it drove me crazy. They would come out once a year on inspection and find a faceplate that was cracked. And they would shut the thing down and say, no, they're not going to pay for this, for this inspection. And then you would have delays, and if they moved in, and it just became a nightmare. So at one time I had tons of Section 8. I've actually kind of dwindled that down throughout the couple of years, but then they just recently changed Section 8 where they're coming every other year. So 2 years. Now, I have been testing these last 3 months of really remodeling, rehabbing, repairing, and that's another question. Rehab, remodel is the key words for your accountant, and low income property can be a great tax shelter in that regard. So that's another episode. But in Section 8 now, if I can get them in now and they don't move for 2 years. Now, Section 8 people do tend to stay longer, but I've also had Section 8 people that have bounced out and have trashed the property, and you can't go after a Section 8 tenant. Not that you can't legally, but if they have no money in the beginning, how are they going to have any money on the way out? And suing somebody because they damaged your property and they have no money and they're underground and they don't have no job, it's useless. Seriously. You're just wasting your time. You go get a judgment. Great. They have a judgment on there, but they probably have other judgments from other circumstances, that borrowing payday loans or pay here, car here, tote the note, car places. So you got to do your due diligence 10 times harder, I think, on a Section 8 tenant. They're in Section 8 for a specific reason. You just need to be aware of that. Here's some other things that one thing that you need to be aware of. And, I don't know if this is negative or positive. You might have a stigma of being a slumlord. All right. I love it when people call me a slumlord, and that's totally not true. What is a slumlord? I think a slumlord is someone that doesn't take care of their property and doesn't take care of their tenants. Okay. And you should call them residents. That's a Mr. Landlord plug. But you have to evict people. And so if you evict people, then you are considered a slumlord. So I'm a slumlord because I evict people, because I look at it like this. If you go to a restaurant and order the food and don't pay for it, that's theft. That's stealing. Okay. Period. You can go to jail for it. Well, I feel the same way. If you rent a property and you don't pay for the rent of the property, it's stealing. I have a mortgage I got to pay. It's business. Okay. So you've got to think that way. You got to run it like a business. You can't be a part-time landlord if you're going to be in the hood. Just FYI. Now here's a quick positive. So if you buy $100,000 house, and this is just based on Oklahoma kind of rents and numbers, so this is not perfect science. This is just to get the ball rolling in your mind. You buy a $100,000 house here in Oklahoma, let's say in a really nice neighborhood. That rent, if you're not doing things well, could rent for $900. You should at least get 1%, at least $1,000 a month, but you might get $1,200. But it's, I have a couple $100,000 houses. They don't yield what you think they yield. They don't bring in 2%, which you can get on a lower income property. So $100,000 house could yield maybe up to $1,200. Okay, that sounds great. But what if you get 4 houses at $25,000, and you're getting an average of $500 a month on that? That yields $2,000 a month. Dude, that's it for me. That was my first inclination. My first strategy in real estate to bulk up was for cash flow. Man, I like the word 2,000, but you got 4 headaches. So you got to think about it. Now, not every home is a headache, and I just want to be clear. I'm just trying to give you objections to be objective about what you're doing, and it's attractive, but you got to know what you're getting into. Another scenario is you buy 3 houses at $33,000 a piece. 3 people, maybe $600 a month on an average, maybe $1,500 cash flow. It's still better than the $100,000, but again, it's more more labor intensive. Now, I got some friends that just have 10 units. They average about $125,000 to $165,000 per property, and they're netting $500 a house. They're making $5,000 a month, and they have no calls. So I wonder, now that's a bigger play, and it's a lot more money down, and you got to get better loans, maybe 30-year loans. The loans that I get right now that I like are 15-year, and they're paid off in 15 years. But again, it depends on your strategy. All right. The cool thing is, here's another cool thing about renting in low income is they're more recession proof. When the economy goes south, real estate in rough neighborhoods really are not affected, right? They're already at the bottom. They can't go up any further. So you might want to think of that. Now, tenants work the hustle. Here's a negative side of it. They'll say, do anything. And that's just with any property. Okay. I just interviewed a wonderful gal that's coming out, an episode coming up pretty soon. And she's called the Reluctant Landlord, and she manages remotely from afar. And the stories that she, people say relocating or moving, and they don't care. They'll say anything, but she has it all locked down in her lease. So she has a different philosophy. She buys higher end homes, but she controls them from a distance with paperwork. Another positive thing would be your tax strategy. Think repair versus capital improvement. If you don't know about that, that's okay. There'll be another episode someday, or just text me or email me. Let me know, and I will kind of break that down for you. But real quickly, repairs traditionally are an expense, line item expense. Capital improvement, let's say a brand new heat and air system, you're going to pay tax on that money. So if you're making $1,000 a month and you put that $1,000 towards capital improvement, you're going to pay income tax on that $1,000. But if it's a repair, say it's painting, which is a classified IRS repair, because the home usually does need repairing, it's a line item and deduction. All you super IRS smart people out there, if I'm wrong, let me know and I'll recorrect this. Another positive thing, and I don't know if it's positive per se, but low-income houses are low in competition. Not everybody, it's funny, my name gets thrown up because I do have a lot of properties on a specific side of town, and my name gets thrown up with that. Well, there's only like 3 other serious real estate investors that buy on this side of town. We know each other and we respect each other, and great, grab that one. There's other deals out there, and that's just my philosophy in general, but the competition's low. All right. So my goal is not to sell you on low income or high end homes, but hopefully this is enough information to either make you run or really think about it more and dive in there and ask other landlords. What do they think? Do they like it? Is it a lot of work? If you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units, I think it's pretty manageable. If you have a full-time job, okay. Man, when you're running 50 to 100 that are all low income, it can be very management intensive, and you'll be paying for a full-time person, which is going to eat up your cash flow. So it all boils down to one simple thing. What is your strategy? The second simple thing is, whatever you decide to do, okay, go buy an asset. Whatever it is, even the great thing about even low income property, the government gives you depreciation. That's free cash. Okay. And so you have some sort of a growing retirement fund, and someone's paying it for you. So if it's vacant a couple of times, yeah, that sucks, but fight through it. Whatever you do, go buy rental property. Whatever you do, buy an asset. Go buy a vending machine. Buy something that's going to put money in your pocket and that you can be self-sufficient in whatever you do. All right, my name is Steven Van Kallenberg. This was like a weird rant, renting in the war zone. Hopefully it encouraged you in some form or fashion. If you want to blast me, don't. No, let me know. What's your thoughts? If you're in, you're in. You're out, you're out. But I would love to hear from you. Anyway, whatever you do and everything you do, think about it. Think about buying assets, provide for your family.
Investor Weekend is not far off, with over 10 information sessions to increase your portfolio. Log on to www.investorweekend.com. Whether you are a seasoned investor or never purchased a property before, you don't want to miss the Investor Weekend. Join us for a powerful, knowledge-packed weekend with over 10 informational sessions that are bound to enlarge your real estate investments. You will hear from the best national and local real estate investors that will share practical and relevant experiences with you, the investor. There will be several networking sessions to connect with other like-minded people for potential funding, partnerships, and yes, hot deals. Go to www.investorweekend.com. Did you know we meet once a month for the Landlord Lunch meeting? The third Wednesday of every month. Go to landlordlunch.com.
Thanks for listening to the Savvy Radio Show. Glide online and listen to our other motivating episodes at SavvyRadioShow.com. Connect on Twitter at LandlordBook and always be buying assets.